Hello my friends. So if you have any kind of yoga practice, even if it's a bit lacking, and you suffer from headaches fairly regularly, then in this video I'm going to be talking about my favourite 5 cognitive strategies to deal with headaches. So these are a little bit different and some outside the box strategies for you to help not just to deal with headaches, but actually to relieve the pain as well. These are things that I love and I found helpful, and I'd really love to share them with you today, and then you can take what you want from them, feel what resonates with you, and at least give 1 or 2 of them a go. So number 1 on my list of ways that I like to kind of train my brain a bit differently is reframing negative thoughts. So I know when I've had a headache or a migraine, I tend to be quite annoyed with my body and really just wanting the pain to stop. And, you know, if you're taking painkillers and perhaps they're not really working, and you're kind of getting a bit frustrated with the situation. So what can work really well is to just take a step back and reframe the way that you're thinking about the headache. So rather than it being something that's really inconvenient and something that makes us perhaps a bit annoyed or angry, thinking of it more as along the lines of my body wants to rest. That's a good one for me. So my body wants to rest, or my body is trying to tell me something, or my body's warning system is really working well for me, or I'm really good at listening to my body. You know, those sort of statements. And if you could just interject your thought patterns with one of those, I find that really helpful. So if I'm sort of feeling quite negative about having a headache, then I can sort of just intercede that with one of those thoughts and just feel a bit of almost gratitude for the fact that my body is able to tell me when I need to stop. And I find that one just really easy because you don't have to repeat it over and over and over again, but just interjecting those words in your thought pattern every now and then can be really helpful. And the second thing that I've found really helpful is practicing self-compassion. So if you do some yoga, then that's, you know, that can be a really compassionate way to move your body and to actually be in tune with your body and to just slow things down. But other ways can be listening to how you're feeling and perhaps taking a rest. I often find that if I think, what would I say to somebody else in this situation? What would I say to, say, my best friend if they told me they were suffering with a headache? What would I advise them to do? It probably wouldn't be plough on through your day, try and get all the things done that you need to do, try and block out the pain, take some painkillers and act like it's not there. You know, it's going to be slow down, do what you can, have a rest when you can, any opportunity that you get, drink lots of water, perhaps if you can manage it, do a bit of journaling, you know, do some nice things for yourself, have a bath if that helps. But instead we tend to just get in this sort of train of just doing, and even trying to carry on through a headache, doing, when our body is literally screaming at us that we need to be doing the opposite. So self-compassion is something that I think we're always trying to develop more of, and no matter how much I think I've worked on that, there's always work to be done. And number 3 is mindfulness. So, you know, we all know about this. We all know that practicing mindfulness can really help with stress, anxiety levels, pain levels, but how many of us actually do it in our day-to-day lives? I know that I like to consider myself a mindful person, but hours can just fly by where I look back and I haven't been very mindful at all in that time. So still drawing on that self-compassion, so we're not beating ourselves up about not being mindful, But if we can just every now and then just bring our attention to that very moment that we're in, instead of always looking at the bigger picture and, you know, perhaps catastrophizing and worrying about the future, then we can really do a lot to help with chronic pain such as headaches. So what I find is that often my thoughts will just run away with me, and I'll get to this catastrophic ending where, you know, oh, what if this means this and this means this and this means this. But actually, if we can just be like, this is where we're at right now, and that's all we need to worry about, then that can actually put the brain in a state of ease and allow the body to actually relax. And, you know, as I've spoken about on my other videos, a lot of headaches come from muscular tension. And the more that we can put our body at ease and actually allow it to relax, then the less likely we are to trigger these headaches. So mindfulness for me over the years has really been about being in the moment that I'm in. And what I mean by that is similar to what I said just now, not thinking 5 steps ahead all the time. So even if I'm in traffic or something like that, I might be thinking, oh, I'm in traffic, I'm going to be late, you know, how long are we going to be in traffic for? It's really hot in the car, etc., etc., etc. When we can just be a bit more, okay, I'm in traffic right now, the end, without the story around it, our bodies actually can just relax into that rather than it feeling threatened, which can really contribute to pain a lot. So mindfulness has been really helpful for me over the years. And again, it's something to not just beat yourself up to try and do more of, but just something that can perhaps just easily slide into your day every hour, every couple of hours. Just one mindful thought can be really helpful. The fourth technique that I've used when I've been suffering with migraines and headaches is using affirmations. So Louise Hay, in her book You Can Heal Your Life, she really attributes migraines to people that have the personality type that are perfectionists and are quite hard on themselves. And I think that that's something that can resonate with me, and perhaps that resonates with you as well. And so the use of affirmations can just be really helpful to reprogram our thinking and to also just bring the body into a state of calm. But the thing that I found with affirmations is you do have to believe them. So they have to be at a level that you can actually, your brain will accept. Because I find if I start trying to use ones such as, you know, I'm not in pain or I feel good, those types of things when I'm suffering, then my brain will just sort of like put it over there. It won't absorb it and accept it as a degree of truth. So I like to just bring it really just back from there, and I use things like Abraham Hicks's suggestion, everything is working out for me. If that feels like it's too much for me to believe, and you know, in that moment it really doesn't feel like everything is working out for me, then I might bring it back even further, and I'll kind of think or even say out loud to myself, I'm exactly where I need to be right now. And that's a little bit easier to believe, you know. Or if that's still too much, then perhaps I'm really good at listening to my body, or my body is really good at telling me what I need. So have a think of one that might feel really relevant to you, one that you can accept and believe to be truth. And it doesn't have to be this big affirmation about your whole life. It can just be about that day, that hour, that moment. I've actually got a list of affirmations that I like to use, so if you'd like that, then just let me know in the comments and I'll send that over to you. But on to number 5. So number 5 is about listening to my body. And the way that I do this if I'm going through pain, so if I'm suffering with a headache or a migraine, is I like to, well, I don't like to, but I try to allow the feeling to be there. So I actually allow myself to feel the headache rather than trying to kind of distract myself, numb myself from it. Actually, just lying there with the headache in its full on, like you've been hit by a train kind of mode where you're right in the middle of it. Actually, just letting it be there and even thinking about it, and rather than trying to actually shut it down, I actually find can be really helpful for helping to, the pain certainly won't subside immediately, but I find that it really helps me to work through the headache quicker by actually accepting it and allowing it to be there, and really going full on into the feeling of it and actually feeling what it feels like. And yoga nidra can be amazing for this. And I've got a really great practice that you can have. If you'd like it, I'll post a link to it in the comments. But yoga nidra can be amazing for actually accepting the headache or the migraine and letting it be there along with the rest of our body, which might not hurt. So allowing this to be there and the rest of us to be there without trying to shut any of that down, I find that can be really helpful. So that was the 5 strategies that I've used to help cope with headaches and migraines. I hope that you find them helpful and that perhaps you can implement just one of them into your life. That would be great. So we had reframing negative thoughts, practicing self-compassion, mindfulness, affirmations, and then really tuning in and listening to the headache and to the body itself. In the comments below, I'll put a link to some free resources for you that can really help develop this practice. So you can grab those from the comments. Do let me know if you found this helpful.